Welcome to the Fanatical Elfz Show, part of the Elfz Network. We are a bunch of wild and crazy Cleveland Browns fans, bringing you all the latest in Browns news. Tune in now. Hey, we are a bunch of wild and crazy Browns fans. Welcome to another edition of our Fanatical Elfz Show. It's a Thursday night, December 7th, I believe. Welcome, yes. Steve Gill. How are you tonight?
Pearl Harbor Day.
Ah, that's right, Pearl Harbor.
And the beginning of Hanukkah. I'd like to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah. Having a Jewish ancestor on my mother's side. I am technically part of the tribe. I don't celebrate Hanukkah, but I'd like to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah.
Yes. Well, when we want to welcome everybody here joining us, we are live tonight, and we're going to talk about the Browns and the Jaguars here in just a moment. How's your week been, Steve?
Been great.
Yeah.
Just getting ready for tax season. I've registered with the IRS. I've complied with everything, downloaded my tax program, transferred all my client files, ready to go, just waiting for some forms to be available, 1099s, W-2s, and that kind of stuff, so I can order them free from the IRS, and they'll send them to me, and I'll be ready to go with a few clients who need those. And other than that, I'm ready to go. Let's make some money.
Did I tell you that my dad, he used to work for one of the main tax groups or companies? I can't even think of the group. You probably know all the groups, but
well, they've merged
HR trade H&R
Block.
H&R Block. Yeah, he used to. So he helped do people's taxes for about a decade, I think. And
my late father was the CPA. He worked for back then it was Ernst and Winnie in Cleveland.
Okay.
Yeah, then he came here to Nashville and worked for Ernst & Ernst, and then started his own practice when I was in high school.
Okay.
Many moons ago.
Many moons ago. Well, I was just complaining to Steve off air how, we're two old guys, but Steve might have a few years on me, but I was complaining about I'm a coach in high school basketball this winter, and I'm having a great time working with the Licking Heights girls basketball team, and we're off to a fast and furious start. But I was telling Steve that it's as a coach, as you get older, it's fun, but it's also like the after effects of being out there and coaching, and it gets a little harder at times to. I'm not in my 20s or 30s anymore, and so. But we're having a great season, and I appreciate some of you. I know you tune in, you listen to us here on the Fanatical Elfz. Support our Licking Heights girls basketball team, as I usually post some of our after game posts there, and still write for Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders, so we put some stories there. Steve Gill, you write for Cleveland Sports Talk. You also have your own blog. You also do Dog Pound South podcast, which is awesome. And so you're excited because I know that you live down in Tennessee, and you just told me that the Jacksonville Browns game is going to be aired live down there in Tennessee.
Locally.
Yeah.
Even though I have a surefire system to watch it, and when it's not.
That's right.
There are ways around everything. But that way I can turn it on more than one TV. Like
Excellent.
I can turn it on in the kitchen, and I can also have it on in the living room so I don't miss anything.
Well, let me start out with this question. Let's talk about Jacksonville for a quick second.
The Jaguars.
Do you think the Sunshine is going to be quarterbacking Jacksonville on Sunday?
At first I didn't, but then CJ Beathard, the backup, he's having shoulder problems. He was limited as well in practice. Plus Sunshine's got a 46 consecutive game play streak going right now. He started ever since he was drafted.
Yes.
I don't know. It's supposed to be bad weather in Cleveland, windy, rain.
Yeah. But
I
by the
got
way,
a
I'm giving away
feeling.
my tickets. So if anybody wants my tickets, I've got 2 season tickets for the game on Sunday. Let us know. Okay, back to you, Steve.
I don't know if you're really. I said this before game one with Joe Burrow and his leg problem, and we see how that turned out.
Yes.
It is his plant foot, high ankle sprain. I think he's going to play.
Yeah.
How effective he's going to be, I don't know, because right now they're going to start their third string left tackle.
I was trying to think the last time Jacksonville. I mean, Trevor Lawrence has never been to Cleveland and played a game. I don't think here at Cleveland Stadium.
No, he hasn't.
I know the Browns have gone down there.
Yeah.
So
well, they are right now 5-0 on the road. So
yeah. Now something's got to give on Sunday, and it was nice to hear Joe Flacco. We don't know who's going to be quarterbacking the Browns yet.
Joe Flacco.
Yeah, I think most of us agree it's going to be Joe Flacco. Joe was talking about Cleveland Browns Stadium and playing in the AFC North earlier today, and talking about the smell of the grass.
Yeah,
the actual grass, not the grass that you smell in the air from people that are doing other things with grass.
Well, pot is now legal in Ohio, so
but they're trying to change it again. Like, even though they passed the rule, those silly those people up in the state house, they're trying to create all these blocks.
They are.
Yeah.
You mean the people by majority want something? No. The small minority says no. You got to do it our way. Forget that you voted on it.
Right. We don't care about the vote. We don't care what the public has to say. I mean, yeah. Interesting. So it was nice to hear Joe talk about Cleveland Stadium and coming to Cleveland, and he was very upbeat and positive about how it's real football. And I just think, Joe has always been, as I can recall, and I hated the man because he beat us all the time, but he's always been sort of low key, not over the top, and the way he plays the game. And I was just really impressed overall watching him last week, considering everything that he played really well in a lot of our eyes. I know he made a big mistake at the end of the game,
and that was on him, not Kevin Stefanski.
But not the entire the game was not lost. I mean, it had an effect on the game, but there were a lot of things that happened in that game that we can put blame on. I'm looking forward to seeing Joe continue to play. I think he'll play well Sunday against Jacksonville, and just want your assessment on Joe and what you're looking forward to.
Like I wrote in my article, a lot of play action. He was 10 of 16 for 165 yards and 2 touchdowns on play action.
Yeah.
So that's the offense they ran with Baker and with Jacoby Brissett, and the offense that Stefanski ran with Kirk Cousins. As you could tell, Harrison Bryant caught 5 passes, the second string tight end. So tight end usage, and I think. Let's see now. He had 19 throws of over 10 yards.
Yeah, which is like the
most by a Browns quarterback in 5 years.
That's crazy. Yeah,
that is crazy.
Was Baker the last one to do that?
No, most 5 years. So you got to go back 5 years.
Well, I don't know.
Find a quarterback
wasn't
who's done
Baker
that
here
in the game.
Okay, I thought Baker had done that. Okay, maybe
23. So we're talking about
2018 or more than 5 years.
Yeah, well, it might have been Baker.
Might have been Baker. That's okay.
I know everybody wants to harp on the running the ball, but since Watson's been hurt, the Browns have faced a stacked box 63.5% of the time, which
you got to do something different.
Flacco can loosen that up a little bit.
Yeah, well, did you not? We talked about that last week, and I was excited to see that they really did let him air it out a little bit, and they aired it out early too. Those are, obviously he made
he threw the ball away, which I loved.
Yes, Yes.
Only Browns fans would applaud when the quarterback throws the ball away.
Now, I don't want to get into a big, argument or debate. I mean, we can talk about. I mean, we've talked about this already. I'm not going to get into this about Deshaun Watson as far as the attire and everything like that during the game. But what I did want to ask you is, there was, there's been a lot of talk throughout this whole Deshaun Watson situation over the last year and a half that as he's come back, the narrative has always been, well, he still looked rusty, and he still looked rusty, or he wasn't pinpoint, or didn't have enough zip on the ball, or and we were saying, okay, let's give him the 6 games at the end of last year, and then let's see how he does. And granted, the kid's been out of football for a long time prior to coming to Cleveland. I guess the question I have is that Joe Flacco goes out there, and some people in social media land were commenting, I think fairly, that Joe went out there and was zipping it and throwing it all over the place, and he didn't seem to have a lot of rust. I guess my question is,
yes,
the rust,
he did have some rust.
Okay. I guess my rust thing is with Deshaun is that I think, do you feel like that topic, I mean, is it fair, I guess, in your mind? I kind of think it's a fair, but I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, what was it? Week 2, during the Titans game, after getting sucker tackled by a Titan player in the throat, he came out and completed 3 or 4 passes in a row for the first touchdown. Then he really heated up, and then he got hurt.
Yes.
And then he came back from that injury in the second half of the Baltimore game. He was 14 for 14?
Right, exactly.
So that tells me that he shakes off the rust pretty quick when he's healthy.
Right. And I think that's the key, is that when he's been healthy.
That's the key. When he's healthy, once he gets going, once he gets in a rhythm, he's perfectly fine.
It's just,
but you got to keep him healthy. And for you people who think that they're going to sign Joe Flacco for next year, no, they're not.
Right.
38 years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a Don Strock situation.
Yes. And I agree. Right. But in this context, in this year, I mean, the fact that we have Joe, and it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out Sunday, because Jacksonville is 5-0. The Browns have lost 2 games in a row. Yeah. The Browns now are 7-5. They've lost 2 games to 2 teams that, got hot or were playing well when they did. And Cleveland hasn't won out on the West Coast in forever. So now, but like you've said though, and we've all talked about this in our own shows, what matters most is this game now. It's against an AFC opponent. These are the games that count. If the Browns can somehow figure out how to win 3 games, and then, one of those 3 wins was going to be hopefully a win against Cincinnati at the end of the year. And then you see Cincinnati play a great game with this new quarterback, Browning, being rejuvenated, and Bengals are still kind of there. So,
well, the Jags pass defense isn't the greatest, and one of their good corners, Trey Thompson, got concussed early, and he's out.
So what are your keys then to this? Well, let's get into the keys here in just a minute. Let's go ahead and pause for a break. We are the Fanatical Elfz Show, and thanks again for joining us here on Fans First Sports Network, part of our Fanatical Elfz Network. I am John. This is Steve. We will be right back. And we're back. Thanks for joining us here on the Fanatical Elfz. And we just, again, appreciate you downloading our shows. I was reading an interesting article. Jeff Hartman out of Fans First and the Pittsburgh affiliate was sharing with us. I don't know if you saw that, Steve, about downloads and whatnot with the new iPhones and things, and how in the past, before this latest update from the iPhone, that if you missed shows on Apple, they would automatically be downloaded once you went into the show. And now it sounds like that's not happening. So to solve that, is if you're a Browns fan, you're following us on our podcasting, just make sure you're clicking that play button and listening to us, even for just the morning commute for 5 minutes. Tune in, and
Yeah.
we just really appreciate you listening. Spread the word, man. Every week, I don't know about you, Steve, but anytime I have an opportunity, I saw at the basketball game the other night, one of our the referees after the game, I saw that he was wearing a Browns beanie, and it had the Browns the dog, logo on it. I said, "Hey, you Browns fan?" "Oh yeah, I love the Brownies." And I said, "Well, we've got our Fanatical Elfz network. You should tune in. Just type in Cleveland Browns on Apple or Spotify, and we pop right up." So hopefully we got another listener who will
Good
tune in. So keys to Sunday's game against Jacksonville. What needs to happen?
Well, I think the offense will be a little bit more opened up than it was against the Rams. I mean, those little flat passes to the running back were kind of a little simplistic in so much as the Rams figured them out and they went nowhere constantly.
Yes.
I think I'm not happy that Amari Cooper isn't playing, but I'm conversely happy that Marquise Goodwin looks like he's going to play. And
would you like to see that connection?
Yeah, I want to see that connection.
Yes.
I want to see more of Elijah Moore. A lot of people make a big stink that he was targeted 12 times. Well, a lot of those targets were throwaways by Flacco. So he still had a good game.
He did. He had a very good game. I think probably one of his best games of the season.
Let's keep using Njoku and Harrison Bryant. I mean, 5 catches. He had a great
I've liked the kid. I just think that he is I think he's a smart player, and I think he knows how to defend, or like he knows how to block. I think he's taken upon himself to be really good at that. He's part of the goal line or the 4th down short plays.
Yeah, he is the guy under center on 4th and short.
Yeah. I mean, they must trust him enough. I mean, coaches put him in that spot.
I also want to see, let's keep the running game going. I want to see more Pierre Strong. I've been saying this all year. I want to see more of Pierre Strong. I mean, he had 2 rushes against the Rams, and he, averaged 20 yards per run. He's got great burst. Of course, Kareem Hunt was just a beast. 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, bring in Kareem Hunt, boom, you got a first down.
Yeah,
that happened. The weird thing about it is, I'll give them the Denver and the Rams games. They were going up against veteran quarterbacks with Super Bowl winning coaches.
Yes.
Do you know this will be the 5th game in a row the Browns will play a coach who's won a Super Bowl?
No.
Tomlin, Harbaugh, Peyton, Sean McVay, and now Peterson. Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl. So this will be the 5th straight game they played against a coach who's won a Super Bowl.
Right.
I don't know if I'd start Sunshine. I just keep thinking about that Joe Burrow first week 1 game. It's going to be sloppy. You could hurt him. And this late in the season, I know why Cincinnati did it, because it was the first game of the season.
Right.
But now you're looking at late in the season, and they're going to need Trevor Lawrence the way Houston's playing.
Yep.
So, but like I said, he's got a 46-game consecutive start streak. So I'm anticipating him playing.
Okay.
On defense, I think they're going to be a lot better with Denzel Ward back. We don't realize how.
Yeah, Denzel, that's going to be big.
And Cam Mitchell might be back, which would be a great.
Another, yep.
I mean, with Ward, the defense allowed 96 yards rushing and 141 yards passing. Without Ward, they allowed 140 yards rushing and 190 yard passing. That's how important Denzel Ward is. So you get him back, you get Mitchell back. then the secondary will be fine. Listening to Jim Schwartz's Zoom call today, he's not very happy with his defensive line.
Really?
Oh, you could tell he is just not happy the way they played with the Rams. So I don't know. I saw some video.
They haven't had a sack
Miles.
in two. They haven't had a sack in 2 weeks. Is that right?
No, they got a sack in Denver. The problem was Myles Garrett did a 0.00 against the Rams. No sacks, no tackles, no pressures. And that's the first time in Myles' career he's gone back-to-back games without a sack.
Right.
So I expect them to play a lot better.
Yeah.
They do play better at home, and I think he has read them the riot act. You can tell he is not happy.
Interesting. Yeah.
So, and when Jim Schwartz is not happy,
you
better play well.
It's supposed to rain here quite a bit Saturday, and then Sunday's supposed to be like the temperature's supposed to be dropping throughout the day. Temperatures start around 45 or 50 and drop. So we'll see how that all plays out. Imagine there might be a little drizzle, maybe a little drizzle in the air. It might be cleared up by then. Who knows? It was beautiful the last time we were up there a few weeks ago. The last home game. So we shall see. Now let me ask you this about. Okay, so you're looking at the playoff picture. There's 5 games left. Still a lot of football. It's still really early to start predicting things, but where do you see things falling for the Browns, and what do you expect to happen if you had to start looking at it?
Well, got to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
That's first and foremost. Then they get the Bears. Know that you can pretty much say that's a possible win. Then they got to go to Houston. That's the game that I keep thinking about.
Yeah,
but then again, you're going against a rookie coach and a rookie quarterback. So
they're actually showing the replay they're showing that Denver-Houston game right now on the NFL Network from last Sunday, which Houston held on to win. By the way, I think Pittsburgh has an early lead in the game against whomever they're playing tonight.
Patriots.
New England. Yes. Yeah. So we were probably already know ahead of time, if Pittsburgh wins this game, that, Browns really, this is important, like you said.
It becomes more of a must win.
Yeah.
And then they get the Jets, and Aaron Rodgers isn't playing. I'm sorry. I hate to tell everybody that, but he's not going to play.
Right.
He's cleared to practice and to work out. Whoop-de-doo.
Right.
They're going to be out of the playoffs. He's going to say, see ya, I got a lot of $40 million in guaranteed money that I'm going to get next year. I am not going to hurt myself. And then it comes down to Cincinnati. I think by that time, Cincinnati will have fallen apart.
Jamar Chase just annoys the hell out of me. Did you see that touchdown he scored early on in that game? What a doofus. I mean, I'm sorry. Just like, slowing down, and I think that should be called a penalty. I don't know why some sort of taunting call there. I mean, it was obvious.
That's a referee judgment.
Well, that referee had no judgment.
Since the NFL expanded the playoffs in 2020, only one team has not making the playoffs with 10 wins, and that was the 2020 Dolphins. They went 10-6. No team has missed the playoffs if they won 11 games. Or more.
Yeah.
So I think 10 wins would do it. I'd prefer to have 11. How about that? Yeah. I don't they win every game going in. If they get a really good game this week out of Flacco.
Oh, this would be a big win because I'm not planning on this.
I think they could go on a roll.
I'm not planning this on a win, but if it did become a win for the Brownies, I certainly that would really help because right now I project them beating the Bears, I project them beating the Jets, and I project them beating the Bengals. That would give them the 10 wins. But like you said, if we can get this game against Jaguars.
Well, just remember one little factoid. Kevin Stefanski is 9-0 versus the AFC South.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that earlier this week too. Yeah, I think you've mentioned that also. Yeah. That's a good one.
It's a good time. They're 5-1 at home. So the Browns are.
You think Jim Schwartz is here to stay? It was interesting. Did you see my question? It was just a silly question on social media, but I said, "Who do you trust more, Stefanski or Schwartz?" And it was 67-33 or something like that in favor of Schwartz. There were about 300 votes, so I think it was a pretty good example or sample size. So it seems like Cleveland Browns fans trust Jim Schwartz more right now. Do you see him staying? Because I know our
Yes,
colleague Elliot was saying that the Browns are going to have to make the decision, but I don't see that happening. I think that Schwartz is in a position
he's not going to stay. Look,
yeah,
he got out of coaching completely because of his health.
Yes,
and he got talked into coming here to Nashville last year to be an advisor, kind of like Jim Washburn is right now with the Browns, who got talked into doing it. Jim Washburn doesn't want to get back into coaching, but he can make money as an advisor. The Browns went after him. He liked their personnel. They asked him, "What do you need?" And he went out. They went out and got Tomlinson. They went out and got Smith. So I think he stays. And
yes,
yeah, I think
I
he
agree.
stays.
How old
I don't
is
think
he?
Kevin Stefanski has anything to worry about.
How old is Schwartz? Is he in his 50s or 60s?
Idea.
Okay,
I have no idea. He might be over my age.
Bill Belichick is 71. I heard that earlier today. 71 years old.
Yep.
Just think if things had been a little different back in the day in 94, 95, all that whole transition, because going to Baltimore. Yeah.
Baltimore Ravens shouldn't have fired him.
Did they fire him right off the bat? Is that right? I was trying to recall.
After the move, Art Modell called him and fired him.
So he didn't even get a chance with Baltimore. And then they brought in that one guy. What's his face? That one guy.
Yeah, he used to coach Baltimore Colts a long time.
Yeah, and then
game has passed him by.
Trent Dilfer. Trent Dilfer was the winning Super Bowl quarterback. That was in what
2000,
and then Joe Flacco won the Super Bowl in 2013. Was he not the MVP of that Super Bowl?
Yes, he was.
See, all right, I knew that. I
was
remember
against
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
He played great.
New England 7, Pittsburgh 3.
Oh, okay. Oh, I read that wrong. That's right, because Zeke plays for New England now when it's Ezekiel Elliott. By the way, here in Columbus, where I live, Columbus
is a little hectic up there.
It's very interesting. Today we were saying off air, Marvin Harrison, the star wide receiver for Ohio State, will probably be the number one or in the top 5 picks of the NFL draft. And
if Arizona has the number 1 pick, he'll be the number 1 pick.
Yeah. Now there's rumors coming out that all these NIL or NLI or whatever they call these deals,
name, image, and likeness.
NIL. Yeah, and boosters here in Ohio State who are just throwing money at these players. I mean, they're getting cars, they're getting anything they want. It's just nuts.
Sure. Legal.
It's legal. It's legal. It's funny because and then the whole portal for these kids, and we're not going to talk about it because it's really depressing, and I think it's a sad state of affairs in college sports these days. These kids don't want to put forth any effort, so
they brought it on themselves. If they had agreed to
don't you think it really
more than expense money, they got taken to court and they lost.
Don't you think it kind of waters down? I just feel like it doesn't build on anything in college. Like these colleges are not like they're no longer like teams. They're just it's like it's like a minor league for the NFL. I get it. It's just sad because part of the fanfare and the why people love college sports has been because because it's college and that these players weren't necessarily getting paid money, and it was like the last hurrah before you get in the pro sports, and now it's sort of so and then you see these things on TV. I got my TV over, that's why I'm staring over here. The Prime, they did this whole thing on Prime Time and Dion, and I'm sure they started that process of making that whole documentary well into the last summer and early part of the fall. I don't think anybody expected Dion to be 4-8 with his Colorado Buffaloes. It's just funny to me.
He's got a
because
bunch of players leaving too.
Oh,
I
of
mean,
course.
you know,
And it's just funny.
you know.
They got this whole thing on Prime, on Amazon, and it's just silly because it's like he had a terrible season and they're still trying to promote this guy like, it's just silly. I mean, Prime is he was a great football player. He's a good coach, I'm sure, but all that razzle dazzle stuff, it's just funny because everything's weird. It's weird.
It's weird. He gets all the pub and he goes 4-8. Yet here in Nashville, Tennessee State University, who produced Richard Dent and Too Tall Jones.
Yes.
Eddie George is their head coach, and they're bowl bound.
Mm-hmm.
He has a winning season. He brought TSU their first winning season in a long time.
Wow.
It's Eddie under the radar, Eddie George under the radar. And
is he the coach? Wait, Eddie George is the coach?
Yeah, he's been the coach for 3 years.
Loved Eddie George, when I was
a very
growing
nice
up,
person.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, absolutely.
When my wife and I owned our coffee shop, he would go next door and get his head shaved at a barber shop. Yeah. And one of the guys over there said, you need to go next door at the coffee shop. There's a guy in there who's a big Ohio State fan. Yeah. So he used to come in and get a drink and get an order to go.
Oh, nice.
So, I talked to him all the time. And
that's great.
He didn't like the fact that I was a Browns fan.
Really?
Oh, no. He does not like Cleveland. Titans, the AFC.
Yeah. That's true. Well, that's okay. But, I'll forgive him. I'll forgive him.
He'd come in the door and I go, OH, and he'd go, IO.
Yes. Well, when you live here, I just think it's like Ohio State is it's just everything here in Columbus. And I just find it so funny. They sell the T-shirts now that they have a copyright on the. Like I'm going to wear.
They did that.
I'm going to wear I'm going to wear a sweatshirt that says the. Are you kidding me? That's just stupid. I'm sorry. I'm a Buckeye fan, but that's just dumb. Sorry.
I like it. It annoys people.
Why do you like that? Because I get annoyed by
other people. I live in SEC country.
Okay, that's true.
When I wear my Ohio State sweatshirt on Saturdays, oh, Ohio State fan, and I go the Ohio State, and it drives
still baffles. What drives me crazy, and I'm I live here in Columbus. The gall of of these people that are Michigan fans that promote their team. But the thing about it, I've talked to more and more people that I've worked with down here in Columbus, that Michigan, that team up north, they really came here to Columbus, and they've like Columbus City Schools, and they came in and really because Ohio State ignored these great players in the city schools, which I, worked in for several years and enjoyed that, but didn't realize how big of a thing it was where that team from the north actually came in and recruited a lot of players. And thus, there's a more positive vibe when you talk to people because they're closely more related to these schools. And, I know we're supposed to hate that team up north, but
I do.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of cheaters. Can't wait for the NCAA to come down on them.
Okay, but the whole thing with the cheating thing. Okay, like, come on, Steve. Like, as well as I do. Like, okay, Michigan's cheating, but you can't tell me that none of these other huge programs, even Ohio, even though no,
there's a difference. You can steal signs. You can't record what you're doing. See, what they did was against NCAA. I'm not going to get into it with you. All I'm going to say is Jim Harbaugh will probably be coaching in the NFL next year.
Okay.
After Alabama hands his ass to him.
You don't think anybody else hadn't recorded anything over all these years? I mean,
not like this. This was a hell of a scheme. I mean, this is like Ocean's 11 type scheme. I mean, it really is. The thing with the players in Ohio, Jim Tressel knew.
Yes.
You got to get the best Ohio players. Urban thought you can win when you get the best players nationally.
I don't like Urban.
And he was right. It worked. I mean, he won a national championship, and he always beat Michigan. But then Tressel also always beat Michigan. Ryan Day's got to go back to doing what Jim Tressel did. Get the Ohio players first.
Well,
get the national players.
He wasn't fired. I think a lot of people were anticipating right after the Michigan loss that they would fire him, but that didn't happen. Well, I wasn't necessarily saying that either, but I think there was a big part of the fan base here that was anticipating it. Yeah,
sure.
I mean, it's on the news. Yeah,
that'll do it. But
how many games did Coop lose? He lost a lot when I was growing up. John Cooper, he lost all the time.
2-9-1 or something like that.
So 2-9-1. So that's 12 years they kept him around. Yeah.
And the only reason Tressel left is because the NCAA investigation. That's why Jim Harbaugh will probably be coaching, I don't know, somewhere on the West Coast. Maybe, I don't know. I got a feeling Buffalo may come available, but then again,
what about Arizona? Well, Arizona's
the Chargers coach is probably going to get canned.
That would be interesting.
That would be a dream job.
Yeah.
So But,
all right.
the college goes to the 12-team playoff next year. Let's see what Ryan Day does with that.
Yeah. No, I like. Yep. Well, Steve, it's been great talking to you, and we've got a big game coming up, and hopefully we'll touch base with you later this weekend. We got the Browns game on Sunday. It's a 1:00 start, noon for you there in Tennessee, and we'll have a pregame show and postgame show. Hopefully, we are talking Victory Monday again, and we'll bring that to you again here on the Fanatical Elves. Check into all of our shows. Steve's show, The Dog Pound South podcast, comes out on Mondays, and he does all these other shows with us. The Elliot brings his Oracle Speaks, brings those every day. Elliot, Joel Cade brings his What the Elf Was That. Had a great episode this week. And let's not forget about both Sam, our youngster down there in Texas, brings the Browns breakdowns. And then our other colleague, Rod Bloom, over there in Dayton with his brother Jeff. They had a great interview with, I can't think of the gentleman's name.
I can't either.
Lives over in I think Australia, and comes on their show sometimes, and very good thorough discussion about they talked about refereeing and the NFL and lots of other topics. Jeff, his brother, had a really interesting story, and I can't think of the guy's name either here, but he was on this cruise where one of the former San Francisco 49ers who won 2 Super Bowls was on the cruise with him. He was the main guy who got the sack on Danny White in the 80, it was the game of the Immaculate Reception where Drew Clark caught the touchdown pass.
That was the Immaculate Reception. It was Franco Harris, but it was
Franco Harris. It was the catch. It was the Montana, catch. And then there was a minute left in the game, and Dallas got the ball back, and they started kind of moving the ball down the field. Well, this guy Phillips or Phils, or he was the one who sacked Danny White. And was a big part of that team back in the day. So they were just talking about that. So if you get a chance, tune into his podcast. It was a really interesting story to listen to. Thanks, everybody, for following us here on the Fanatical Elves. Tune us in and keep spreading the love. Go Browns. We'll talk to you later this weekend.
Go Browns.
I got to go find my music. Where's my music? Wait.
Where's your music?
Wait, everybody. Oh, here it is. Bye.
Bye. Go Browns.